Quis custodiet, ipsos custodes.
Greetings from the second age of reason. Today's ticklish topic is TSA, touching sensitive areas. We're talking about this government agency because I believe they are out of control, unconstitutional, and not really fulfilling their goal of making us all safe. More recently are the new enhanced techniques of passenger screening at the airports. They have two basic techniques now. One is the scanner, also known as the naked scanner, and number two is the advanced pat-down, or grope-down, however you want to perceive it. Now, the key to this is to understand what you're up against, because so many people just go with it. They just accept whatever is given to them, and I think it's time that we should write our Congress and just say, enough is enough. So let me describe some of these in more detail. First, in terms of what they are, and secondly, in terms of health hazards and health concerns for these things. Firstly, the naked scanner. It's a fancy x-ray machine that can see through your clothes. And so they take pictures of you and send them someplace, and then there's somebody behind closed doors looking at naked pictures of you and deciding if you're okay. Then you've been told that it's totally confidential, and you think that those pictures would be deleted. But you can be sure they probably are not. Those pictures have to be created and stored on a disk, and the disk is probably on a network. And a computer someplace in the background is a server, and it's probably getting backed up on a regular basis. If anything ever went wrong on your flight or with you or whatever, those pictures would be retrieved as evidence. So be assured they are not immediately deleted forever. So that is a concern. Also a concern is the radiation. Secondly, if you opt out of that, say you don't want to have the radiation or you have some kind of metal parts or implants, you then can go to the advanced pat-down area where they basically feel all over your body to see if there's anything bad there. So there are concerns about that as well. A lot of the concerns are constitutional. Fourth Amendment, freedom from unwarranted searches and seizures, and this is going on wholesale at the airports. And why isn't anybody complaining about that? Maybe they should be. Secondly, they're touching people in sensitive areas. Old people, middle-aged people, young people, children. Is that okay with you? Think about it. But they'll tell you it's perfectly legal because the government told them so. They're only following orders. Now let's get into the health aspects of this. Number one, with the scanners, the naked scanners, they're hitting you with radiation in real time to record your image as you face one way and turn to the side, whatever they ask you to do. So that's a carcinogen. You may not feel it today. You never feel the x-rays going in your body. You only feel it later on when you come down with cancer for some unknown reason, which is months or years after the incident. Secondly, let's look at some other security practices, such as the shoe thing, where they make you take your shoes off, and then you're walking barefoot on that floor where 1,000 or 1,000,000 other people have walked, picking up maybe things like athlete's foot, maybe plantar's warts, maybe herpes, and who knows what is on that floor. And maybe you're putting your shoes in that basket that goes through the x-ray. And that basket may have had 1,000 other people's shoes in it. And do they clean it and sanitize it after each use? I don't think so. This is not a place of medical health, as you can see. Moving on towards the pat-down thing, now that they are really grabbing people, they are wearing gloves. Gloves that for their protection, to protect them from you, the filthy, unwashed, germy passengers. But do they change their gloves after every person they pat down? Or do they grab you all over, then move on to the next person and grab them all over, and as the series goes down, more and more germs build up. And here you have a recipe for epidemic, biological epidemic, because of people being, manhandled and then moved down and then not sanitary conditions. All in the name of safe travel. And so I just want to bring that up. Also, I have seen in some airports vaccination stations. You put your credit card in the machine in one slot, put your arm in the other, and you get a shot. Well, I just wonder how clean those needles are and how fresh the vaccines are, and if they have thimerosal mercury compounds in them, and if they've been using contaminated egg products for the albumin that they also use for the injections. So I'm just putting these ideas to show you that the idea of an airport is not a very healthy place. Now, one other hypothetical thing is, if somebody was really bringing something in on their person, in their body, and you have these fat-fingered federal people going in doing stuff, aren't you afraid that one of them might go off? And is that in a secluded, secure area, or the other passengers are that they could also be hurt if something went off? And if it was a biological agent, maybe it doesn't explode kaboom, but it spreads silently its noxious agents. And that would be even harder to contain. It's kind of like if you were looking for landmines, that you said you think there might be landmines someplace, and so you run out to there and you're jumping around to see if you can find one. I don't think that's really a smart thing to do. Also, the psychological aspects of it. Psychological aspects on the victims of being molested in a public place. And secondly, the psychological aspects on the inspectors, because it's probably telling them that it's okay to do this sort of thing, and where will it lead? Why aren't epidemiologists speaking up? Why aren't psychologists and psychiatrists speaking up? Why isn't the Surgeon General speaking up? Well, I'm just putting the ideas forward. It's up to you to write your Congress and to make protests, and I don't know, it's almost impossible to avoid travel. And you would think that the security would be the responsibility of each individual airline, and they would have their own techniques. And the ones that are more effective and passenger-friendly would be winning the market share, not the brutal Byzantine, empire effects that they're using against us. So, until later, we'll be seeing you. Travel safely. Bye-bye.
Oh, and one other thing you can tell when your system, your government, your company is starting to fall into the trap of corruption and unethical things, because they'll start to have excuses. You may recognize some of these yourself. Here they are. There's probably more. If you want to add some more, add them down below. But one is, it is what it is. Another one is, I'm just doing my job. Another one is, I was only following orders. Or there's always the usual one, I don't make the laws, I just enforce them. Is there any more that you can think of? It's that time of year, and we'll be seeing you again. Quis custodiet, ipsos custodes.